Just like everybody else seeks justice on their own, just like everybody else has vigilantes, we need some black vigilantes.
That's right.
Oh my God.
Before I play this video, I do not remember the full video from the subway with Jordan Neely and Daniel Penny. I do not remember the full video. I've been trying to search it, can't find it. If any of y'all can find it, leave it in the chat, or if you're watching this later, please leave the link in a comment. I can't find it. And at first I was disappointed because I'm like, yo, how am I supposed to respond to this? How am I supposed to speak on it if I've never even seen the full video? Most of the time you see the video when Jordan Neely just already seems like his body's going limp. And then you see photos, mostly. So I haven't been able to dissect the full video. I don't know if that's the case for y'all as well. Then I realized that it actually gives me a certain advantage in some ways. Maybe I'm just saying that, I don't know. But I really felt like it gives me a certain advantage or a different vantage point. Let me just say that. Not necessarily an advantage, but it allows me to see things from a different vantage point. When I'm realizing what's going on with this entire situation, I'm sitting here, I'm like, why is this such a radicalized thing? Why is this the new divisive George Floyd type of situation that's pulling people apart, where people are so strong in their beliefs, either on this end saying Daniel Penny's a hero, he should be celebrated, it'll be disgusting if he's charged of anything, I'm so happy that he got off. And then people on the other side, I'm listening to talking about Jordan Neely and saying like, oh man, like Daniel Penny, just from the different perspectives. So supporting Jordan Neely, saying, it was a mental health issue. There was no reason that he had to die. And they're calling Daniel Penny white supremacist and he's a racist. And anybody that doesn't think that Jordan Neely, or anybody that thinks that Daniel Penny is a hero, then you're a white supremacist too. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, damn. And what's funny is I was listening to the people that I typically listen to. And I'm seeing it split, where it's different from the election. And I think that's going to come up a lot on this show, especially when it comes to the United Healthcare, where people try to box you in to say like, oh, this is what the left is thinking on this one. This is what the right is thinking. So if you're typically with the right, then you should think that Daniel Penny's a hero. If you're typically with the left, then you should think that Daniel Penny and any of his supporters are white supremacists. And I realize more and more the old saying, it's like there's this person's side, there's this person's side, and the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. And that's where my perspective lies on this. I hear some of, I'm not just going to listen to everything that's happening and just, oh, well, I like these conservatives. I've been rocking with them more. So therefore I'm going to, embrace their argument. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that. And this may be one of those shows that for people who don't typically listen, they may walk away and say like, yo, who is this progressive liberal? Or who's this leftist? Y'all may end up saying that. Now, the people that typically watch, I think that y'all will understand. But I'm saying for a lot of other people, they may see it a completely different way. But that's where I like it. I do not like to I'm not rooting for a football team. This is not my family where I'm just going to support my parents. I'm rocking with my parents, yo. It's us versus everybody. I don't care. I don't care what the guy, just like Joe Biden said, nobody's above the law. Well, my family comes first and then the rest of it falls in line after that. You know what I mean? So I'm making a little bit of a joke, but let's actually get into some of these videos that I'm talking about before I go off on another tangent. But let's take a listen to what this, I believe this gentleman is the head of the Black Lives Matter chapter of Greater New York. I'm not even going to explain my feelings on Black Lives Matter right now. We'll just get into the video and maybe it'll come out there.
Just like everybody else seeks justice on their own, just like everybody else has vigilantes, we need some black vigilantes.
That's right.
I can't even front. When I first heard this, my initial response was, what is this nigga talking about? I'm telling y'all, that was my initial response. Try not to curse on here, try to keep my language what it is, but I'm being transparent with y'all. What is he talking about? That was my first response when I'm first hearing this. You need some black vigilantes. You're trying to, this is the same Black Lives Matter tactics that had people jumping out the window, crashing out, not even understanding full situations, but just reacting emotionally to certain situations and getting in trouble in a lot of ways and being misled in a lot of ways. I'm not with that. I'm not with that. The whole, like miss me with that. Why don't y'all go take that energy to George Zimmerman? Take that somewhere else. I don't want to hear all this black vigilante stuff. Take that to George Zimmerman, because George Zimmerman's one of them ones that was coming out talking ish after Trayvon. You know what I mean? Trayvon wasn't Jordan Neely. Totally different situation, right? Trayvon wasn't threatening anybody. And George Zimmerman walking around still talking ish, signing Skittle bags, hosting autograph sessions, signing Skittle bags. So miss me with the tough guy talk. Miss me with this. You got your Klux Busters jacket on. Like, is that the Ku Klux Klan Busters? Like, this is what people do to rile people up and to get y'all to do something stupid that's going to not serve you in a positive way, but it's going to benefit their pockets. This is the type of guy that probably watched a couple Malcolm X speeches, watched a couple Stokely Carmichael or Fred Hampton speeches, or Huey P. Newton, and now he feels like, oh, I finally got my platform. Now I'm going to use it to say certain things, and he's being irresponsible with his leadership, in my opinion. What are you talking about? You're looking for a black vigilante. What do we think that's going to actually solve if you get people on that type of mindset? What do you think that's going to actually lead to? And that's the thing. It's overly emotional men that do not move with anything logical. And that's why we continue to be in these same positions in a lot of ways, in my opinion. Now, I'm not blaming him and his mindset for what happened to Jordan Neely. I'm not saying that. But I'm talking about the overall Democrat feeding into the Black Lives Matter, overly emotional. That's what I'm talking about. They always use emotions to get us to think a particular way. He's calling out for people. Why don't you do it? You talking about we need black vigilantes. Why don't you do it? You seem to have all the energy. You were the one sitting in trial every day with his pops, right? You the one sitting there. Why don't you do it? Why are you calling for other people to do something? I can't stand people with this type of energy. And we're only 11 seconds in. Let's keep going.
We need some black vigilantes.
That's right.
People want to jump up
Appreciate you, Uncle
and
Brother.
choke us and kill us for being loud. How about we do the same when they attempt to oppress us?
Right.
All right, what are we talking about? All right, let me be very clear. If you've never rode a New York City subway, then it's probably going to be very hard for you to relate. I don't mess with the subway. I tell Maya, don't get on the subway. Avoid it as much as you can. Don't take it. It's 6 o'clock. It's after work. You got to go to your book club with your girls. Take a Lyft. Take an Uber. You got to get back to your car. Take a Lyft. Take an Uber. If you've never been on the subway, when I'm on the subway, I'm on point. I don't even try to smile on the subway. There's a lot of weirdos on the subway, a lot of people with mental health issues, and a lot of people and this is since I was a little kid. I always had like it was more of a fear when I was a little kid, and now it's more of just I'm on point. I'm on point. I'm very intentional when I'm walking through the subway or using the subway, letting people know. You ever have like people that may have some mental health issues, but they're not stupid. They're figuring out, in my opinion, this is my opinion, who's the weakest person that they can mess with or bully or figures. That's just how I feel. Maybe I'm wrong. That's how I feel. I'm telling you my approach when I go to Subway. So I'm very direct. I'll look these people in there. I'm looking you in your eye, bro, try somebody else. I don't want you trying to think you could pickpocket me. All this. Maybe I'm being extreme. That's the mindset of walking in the subway, especially after 2020 with the pandemic, where police, it just seems like because we did all this defund the police, now police scared to even do their jobs. And I heard somebody else bring up a point where they can have police at the where you show your card or where you pay with your Metro Pass, the turnstile. What is it called? I forget what the turnstile, or I don't know if that's the right word. But they got police making sure that nobody jumps over and steals a $2 train ride, but nobody on the actual subway. Nobody policing that. And it could be a very nerve-wracking situation. So, and I'm not saying that to justify anything that Daniel Penny did, but I do think that to justify anything Daniel Penny did, but I do think that Jordan Neely was making people extremely uncomfortable. I do think that Jordan Neely was making people extremely uncomfortable, and you can't be threatening people. You can't threaten people. It's not on you. You can't make a threat to somebody and you're the one that sets the tone or decides how they respond to that threat. You can't threaten me and then determine, okay, I'm threatening you, but this is how you need to respond to a threat. Now, they do have laws for these things, right? So the laws are supposed to be, hey, and there's different laws in different states. We've seen certain situations where you see certain stand your ground laws. We were just talking about George Zimmerman. In Florida, it's different when you stand your ground compared to maybe another state, maybe like where I am in Jersey right now. So there are laws that obviously protect these things. But what I'm saying, just from a common sense standpoint, you can't threaten people and then try to control their reaction. Now, did he physically threaten anybody? Did he lunge at anybody? I don't know. I didn't see it. So it's very hard for me to judge, but what I'm judging is the response that why is there such radicalization on this end, radicalization on that one? If I'm just giving my honest feedback without looking at the video and just seeing the tail end of it, I would think that Daniel Penny, this is just without seeing it, my ignorant take on it. I'm letting y'all know that I don't have all the information. I can't find the video anywhere, but this is my ignorant take on it, because I lack certain information to make a proper response. Daniel Penny grabbed the guy. I think that he could have grabbed the guy without putting him in a chokehold. Even if he did put him in a chokehold, I do not think that he needed to keep him in that chokehold for 6 minutes, especially with a certain type of pressure. Now, people were saying that the guy may have been on some drugs, so the guy did not die immediately. He died. Jordan did not die immediately. He died afterwards, right? After the police came and whatnot. I don't think that he needed to put him in that chokehold that long. I don't think Jordan needed to die. I don't think Jordan needed to come anywhere close to dying. I'm going to be totally honest. And I know a lot of people are trying to relate it to the George Floyd situation. I can't do that because I actually know about the drugs that were in George Floyd's system. I actually watched Candace Owens' documentary where you see George Floyd. He's in the car with, the guy pled the fifth, but the car that he was in, he was buying drugs from the guy. Just watch the documentary. Watch the full video cam footage. George Floyd was complaining about he couldn't breathe well before the police officer had his knee on the back of his neck. Look at the full video. Don't believe me. Just look at the full video. I'm just always going to be objective when it comes to this. I'm going to look at the full video. I'm not just going to push a certain narrative just because that's the blackety black thing to do. I'm not going to do that. So I can't relate the two situations. But when I look, my perspective, when I'm thinking about Jordan Neely and Daniel Penny, say he didn't have to be that aggressive in his hold, especially when you got a couple other grown men that are there. Now, Daniel Penny could say that he was nervous, he was scared. He probably was. You don't know what this guy has on him. You don't know if he's going to reach in his pocket for something and try to stab you with it. You don't know any of these things. But I'm just giving my perspective. I don't think that, especially after you had the other gentlemen that were helping you, initially I could see you putting him in the choke and locking in, like letting him know, bro, if you keep bugging, you're going to pass out. I'm going to cut off your circulation and you're going to pass out. I could see that initially. But once you had what and this is the part of the video that I saw, and this is, I believe, the testimony of the gentleman that initially was running away from the police. Like, not, it was the other gentleman in the video that was helping to hold Jordan Neely's hands. So if you have these two men, I got to look at the situation the same way that I would look at it. And this is just the first time that I'm even thinking this. But when it's an officer, first thing I'm saying is like, why y'all got 3 guys on this? Like, you need 3 guys to restrain this one guy? He's already on the ground. You know, he's already in a position, a vulnerable position. Somebody's holding his arms. Like, what's the guy going to do? If you let go, if you let loose of a little pressure on his neck, you're still going to be in control of him. You're trained. He's not trained. Like, you don't know his training. So I understand that. You have to assume that it's a threat. It's a huge threat. So I get it from Daniel Penny's perspective. But this whole vigilante on one side, I don't understand. And this whole hero and Daniel Penny's a hero and all this stuff, I don't really understand that on that side. I don't feel that. I don't feel that. And even if I did think that, even if I said Daniel Penny's heroic for stepping up and answering this threat, I don't know what I would do in Daniel Penny's situation, but I would hope that in my mind, if I was Daniel Penny, I would have a certain level of, how can I put it? I would have a certain level of compassion that would know deep down, whether or not I admit it for the public or not, that I didn't have to be that aggressive with it. And this is all my ignorant take, because I don't have all the information. I was not there. Well, none of us were there, right? But not seeing the full video, this is just my take. This is the radical side over here. He's a hero. He should be celebrated. It's a travesty if he gets convicted of any of these crimes. I'm not with that. And let me be clear. A lot of the conservatives that I watch their videos, that I align with a lot of their messaging in most cases, they're over there. I'm not over there. I'm looking at y'all like, yo, y'all bugging. Y'all doing a little bit too much. And then the people clearly on the left, you got the Black Lives Matter, everybody, oh my God, this is the jury's all racist. They're all this. Where I'm kind of like, the jury's all white supremacist. Nah, I'm not looking at it like that either. I'm not even looking at Daniel Penny like he's a white supremacist. I'm looking at Daniel Penny like, bro, you just probably did a little too much, bro. You ain't have to do all that. Like, we get it. Like, cool. You know, okay, you're trying to save the situation, Marine. Okay, we get it. Cool. But you didn't have to do all that. You didn't have to do that to that extent. That's just my opinion, though. That's just my opinion. I'm not hating any other side for their perspectives and thinking that this, I'm not, I just don't get it. I understand it, but I'm just not with it. Maybe I should say that. Let's keep going a little bit more to hear what this gentleman has to say.
This is
and my apologies. I haven't been
founder
looking at
of the New York chapter of Black Lives
comments,
Matter and Kluxbuster, I guess. BLM is handling the not guilty verdict about exactly as you'd imagine. I have a question though.
Just like,
and what did I tell y'all? So Kevin Bonham Jr., are you referring to me or are you referring to the video? What did I tell you? A lot of people, when they come in today, they may be thinking they may be looking at me from a totally different standpoint, saying like, oh, he's this lefty guy. He's this lefty guy. So he's wrote, LOL, here we go with the same card. Negroes against white people. I'm assuming that that's what that means, white people. It's actually really funny that you're saying that regarding me, but I guess that just shows, you know, I guess I'll take that, because that means I'm coming pretty balanced, if that's what you're saying about me. So let's keep going a little bit. Let's keep going.
everybody else has vigilantes.
Who has vigilantes? Are the Polish running around with their vigilante team?
All right, so let's move on. So there's a couple different clips on this topic that I want to show you. I want to move to, she was just in the video, but there's the lady that's the head of the chapter. I believe this is her partner. I want to show you her response. Ew, it's Dak. Just want to thank you for checking out our video and visiting the OG Network. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give us a like. And if you're looking to join a community of inspired individuals striving for purposeful abundance, subscribe. And if you're feeling real generous, share the video with some friends and family. All right, I'll see y'all soon. Ew.